welcome back to Banter30 podcast. I'm your host for today, Mark Lyon, aka the Arsenal fan of the group. With me, my two lesser football fans, V2, fan of Liverpool, aka Trophyless Reds.
We finished 2 spots above you. Shut the fuck up. Oh, is it a spot above you? There you go.
With 0 trophies. Anyways, and we have Jimmy, who's still celebrating Duodecima, the Real Madrid fan of the group.
Yes, sir.
And the Man City fan of the group.
Yes, sir.
So, if you guys are new to the podcast, basically the podcast is just some banter with a little mixture of informative footballing opinions from fans, such as ourselves. And for returning listeners, we're going to be starting part 2 of the transfer summer series. So last week we did Liverpool, which we were going to wait till the end of the summer to actually backtrack, but I will just start by saying V2's probably a lot less optimistic from last week to this week, as it looked like both of his targets have not been going through. So
it's tragic, man. It's tragic.
So yeah, I will learn from that mistake and probably be less optimistic than that. But so this week we're gonna be doing Arsenal, probably the most followed team in the EPL for good reason, obviously. But just to backtrack, we're gonna do 3 questions. First question is gonna be top 3 transfer needs for your team. Then we're gonna do the second one was gonna be was it the biggest need, right?
The biggest need, yes.
Yeah, biggest.
And
biggest
your dream signing.
And third would be your dream signing.
Sir.
Yep. And then last is the over and under too of how much your club's going to spend.
I think third was over and under.
Yeah, third was over. Well, it doesn't really matter. Third and fourth. Either way, 4 questions, and basically we revert back at the end of the season and see who got the closest. Right?
Yep. Let's get it started.
All right. Cool. So I guess I will take the reins here, being that I'm an Arsenal fan. There's been a need of strikers, and just as much as there's a Wenger in, Wenger out brigade, there's a Giroud's shit and Giroud's class brigade too. I think a split between Arsenal fans, where some fans actually do rate Giroud as a very comparable striker. Other fans are
actually Hold up with that. I'm pretty sure it's like they're packaged together, because I feel like the Wenger out crew absolutely hate Giroud, and the Wenger in crew absolutely love him.
That's
so,
true. That's very true. That's very true. I will say,
deal.
I mean, if you listen to the podcast, I guess you could already know I'm really opinionated about Wenger in, Wenger out. And I've always tried to be in between, without straying too far left, too far right. But when it comes to Giroud, I'm pretty much sold on the fact that he's not Arsenal quality. Well, he's Arsenal quality. Let me not say that. He's Arsenal quality. He's just not what Arsenal need to bring home a championship or a big trophy in that sense. Right? So
yes.
So
I was gonna say okay, I'll just let you finish your list, but we'll come back to it. Go ahead.
Striker would be the first thing, and then the second thing, I personally think we need a center back. We have quite a bit of center backs. Problem is, how many top level center backs do we have? You know what I mean?
That's true.
So it's the main.
I know what you're saying, because I feel like that's another position that you guys have been missing.
Yeah, exactly. I think with signing Mustafi was a big signing last year. $35 million center back, which is one of the most expensive center backs in Premier League history, much less Arsenal's history. So, and he didn't have a bad year, injured, you know what I mean? But he came back in pretty strong. And with Koscielny, I think Koscielny's arguably a world-class center back, in my opinion, when healthy too as well. So, we're phasing out Per Mertesacker, obviously. We have Rob Holding, who's very young, but I don't think is ready to be playing first-team football regularly. And last, the third position, it's tough. It's between a goalkeeper and a center mid. The reason why I say goalkeeper is because Per's not getting any younger. I mean, Petter's not getting any younger, and we have a goalkeeper technically in Szczesny. So the issue with that is Juventus is trying to buy him, but him and Wenger have a huge issue. So if in the fact that Szczesny does go, we're definitely gonna need a keeper. We're gonna need another keeper. Doesn't seem like Ospina is going to stay any longer, which I think it's time for him to go to as well.
That's fair enough. Now, okay, my first question is, we're just going to go ahead and start with the Olivier Giroud topic, okay? No, I mean I've always been.
Have you seen the goal over the week? Have you seen the goal, international goal?
Talking about the header, even last week, the volley was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but then like my thing is, man, listen. I mean, I've always rated Olivier Giroud. He's a good backup option. Okay, but by no means he should be your first.
I definitely
choice
agree.
Striker. Now, with that being said, dude, you pretty much already have a first choice striker with Sanchez. I know to me, Sanchez playing as a striker is way better than he was playing at left wing.
I think, is he capable of playing the 9? Of course he is. I mean, he's done so for Chile. I personally like when he's out wide on the left and he has that freedom to play kind of as a second striker.
Yeah, which is what he does for Chile, because Chile, they play Vargas and they play Sanchez.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So
he plays off of Vargas. So it's funny the way the two of them play together is it's great.
Very, very good. Yeah, very good. And if we could find a 9 that could do what we need him to do, which is score goals, hold up the ball, play as a traditional 9, get in the back behind defenses, cause trouble, and create chances by himself. For himself, which is the biggest gripe of Giroud, right? Giroud.
Yeah, I'll go after Jimmy. Jimmy, go ahead.
Mark, I feel like when you were talking about Sanchez as a 9, I feel like he should be playing on the wing, like you said, because you have more freedom and he can, like the inverted winger type. I think he create more damage playing from that part, because from all the games I've seen of Arsenal, usually when you guys play with Sanchez up tight, he seems to be isolated.
Yeah, that's a problem now.
Is that really a it seems like usually when he plays a 9, he seems to be isolated from the rest of the team, It's like everybody's gone from him.
That's partly because Arsenal's shit.
He's up there.
Yeah.
Especially against the big team.
I think a lot of that has to do with when teams started to figure him out, because first half of the season he played as a 9, right? He scored over 10 goals as a 9 for the first half of the season. When Giroud was hurt, he had no choice but to play him up top, and it was working until it didn't work anymore. You know what I mean? So certain games where he just can't play in that role because, for one, he's not that tall, he's not that big. Yes, he can hold the ball up, but he
Okay, now
wait, that's what I was gonna ask you also. What type of striker is he when he plays up top? Because definitely, I don't know if he's like a hold-up player, or is he like a type of false 9 striker, or is he...
Yeah, I'll piggyback on
One second. I make this point quick and I finish. Because I feel like if you play on the wing, he has a vision. He has a vision of the whole field instead of him having his back to the goal and he has to like hold up the play. I don't think... I mean, I know he's a fantastic dribbler and all that, but I don't know if he's like a type of player that can hold up strong enough to hold up the play.
Exactly, like Giroud and Welbeck, which is why some games it called for Giroud and Welbeck. And I think the issue that happened with Sanchez playing up front is the games that we did need him to hold up the ball, or we did need him to stay up there, he had a tendency to sit deep, to go back into the game to get the ball, because if there's certain games that Ozil maybe wasn't getting on the ball quick enough, or we were defending and we couldn't get him the ball, he would go back and try to retrieve the ball. And the issue with center forwards doing that is when you go back deep into the center of the field or into our own half to get the ball, you look up and nobody's there. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So Sanchez is the type of player that doesn't like to,
Yeah, because I was gonna piggyback on what Jimmy had said. What type of forwards? The whole thing. But like, here's my thing with Sanchez. I think Sanchez, he could play as a lone forward, but it depends on the people that are playing around him, and also like you said, the type of football. If he's not playing as a target man, sort of like gets in behind space and like he drops back, he tries to create a false 9 of sorts. He could play that. Now, another thing that I wanted to say was the type of forwards that you have. Okay, let's analyze this, because I think me and Jimmy, we talked about this before, when me and Jimmy were like, what should Arsenal do if they get Diego Simeone? Remember, Jimmy? I think, Jimmy, you can remember what I'm talking about. Olivier Giroud at the Euros with Griezmann, the 2 strikers.
Yeah.
He can play with 2 strikers, Olivier Giroud, and he looked fucking good. And we said, man, well, what happens if Sanchez was to play like that? And we just talked about it. Yeah, we just talked about it right now at the beginning of this whole discussion, where I said he plays for Chile, 2 strikers. Exactly. Danny Welbeck, when he played at Man United, 2 strikers. I don't know much about Perez because Jimmy, you might have watched him at more at La Liga, because you watch more La Liga. Yeah, Lucas Perez. You might have seen him at Deportivo a little bit more. But my thing is he also like another 2-striker guy? Because when I see him play for Arsenal, I'm like, what does this guy start? But unfortunately for Arsenal, you guys play him on the wing. But he just looks like he could be another, great in a 2-man system. Like, just playing off of him. So I think,
all right, let me see what I can touch on first because you both asked a lot of questions. So we'll go back to the V2 thing first. So which kind of does segue into what Jimmy was asking. So with France, the reason why I personally think it works with Griezmann and Giroud, obviously because Giroud can just become a poacher, right? He doesn't need to get on the ball as much as he's kind of more required to in Arsenal because we have Griezmann. We have a second striker that sits directly behind him. But we also have France has maybe two of the best or the most dynamic wingers, in international football with Dembele, with Payet, or Lemar now. They have wingers that get onto the ball, get crosses in, and it works for Giroud's benefit because if you notice, Giroud, he scores spectacular goals for France, but if you notice, the goals he scores for France are very similar than the goals to the goals he scored for Arsenal. They're both in the box. Some of them are fantastic finishes, and if you look at Giroud in the past, he scored some fantastic goals for Arsenal. I will never take that away from Giroud, but if you notice, the reason why the performances look better is because of the fact that they're just basically utilizing him to the best of his ability. It's not like he's playing any different than he is at Arsenal. Yeah. He's just getting onto the ball a lot more in spaces that he needs to finish.
This is fair enough. I mean, actually, with the France thing, it was actually, from what I saw, it wasn't really the wingers, man. Because I remember Coman was playing on the right and Payet played on the left. Payet would come in. He wasn't really crossing as much. To me, the thing that really aided Olivier Giroud is when Pogba was hitting those long balls. Pogba would hit him and he would bring him down. Snap for like Griezmann.
I didn't really mean in terms of
exactly.
Yeah, because it's also the fact that the long ball works.
Mark is also right. Because Giroud is a big threat in the air. Like if he was playing for a team like Atletico Madrid, where they do like crossing, create from crossing, or Real Madrid, for example, where we have to create a lot of chances from crossing.
Actually no, because guys, I disagree with that statement because when I think about Marcelo Bielsa's Bilbao. And Bilbao, they weren't really a crossing team like that. They played intricate football, but Fernando Llorente still fit. He fit in that team.
Yeah, they do.
And Fernando Llorente is a little bit like Olivier Giroud. Now, here's my point: is like they're technical big guys. Like I know Olivier Giroud, in terms of on his the ball on his feet, it's not his technique, but in terms of like bringing the ball down, his touch.
Llorente is a little technique.
His touch with his
first touch is actually his first touch is pretty good. Yeah, it's his second, his third, and his fourth touch. That's the problem.
But you guys' decision making is also a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one thing. The IQ of a football. You can have a nice touch.
Actually, no, I disagree. I disagree because I think Olivier Giroud's got a pretty good one. If he plays to his strengths, like in terms of like an old
strengths,
an old school
he's
target.
Very good at picking runs.
Exactly. That's why a crossing, like Mark was saying, if
it's not even crossing. He's not even crossing. What I'm talking about is.
Then you're using Giroud to his
what I'm
best
talking
ability.
About is like,
because that's his
what I'm talking about is
like,
you can say it's crossing, but like France, Pogba's playing in the center and he's hitting balls in, and Olivier Giroud would drop him, turn off, and then.
But he's still in the air. You see that the problem? He's in the air. He's big man in the air.
Correct.
He can dominate those balls.
And you really,
it's not on the ground where. That's not like Arsenal. Arsenal play intricate passing games.
I know. But like my point is like Arsenal could still play an intricate passing game, but at the same time use Olivier Giroud to like that sort of strength because I've seen Bilbao do it. I think he does. I've seen Bilbao do it. And I think Arsenal can do it. That's just me.
Real Madrid does it too.
I mean,
to an extent, we also do intricate passing and crossing a lot, but I don't think they have the personnel. Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong. To do both at the same time.
I think that's right. I think what it is the main thing is France depends on Giroud a lot less than we do in terms of the way they're tactically set up. France has so many technically just dynamic football players that Giroud isn't leaned on to do as much as except for stay in the box, get onto the end of balls, get onto the end of crosses, and score goals. And to be honest with you, at Arsenal, we just require more of him. And the thing is, it's not his fault. You can't turn a grape into an apple. You know what I mean? So you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many other analogies I can give you, but Giroud's never going to turn into Neymar.
He's a good backup option.
You know what I mean? So and that's partly because he comes in at 60th, 70th minute, 75th minute when teams center backs are tired, and what do? We send in long balls, we send in dynamic crosses, and he gets on the headers, he scores goals, and that's really perfect for what we need. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely a squad player. We know there's no need to sell him.
Mark, what type of we already talked about Giroud, his positive and negatives. what type of striker do you think Arsenal actually need? Like an example of a striker in the current market.
Lacazette.
You know,
Lacazette.
available or not available.
That's it.
Now, here's the thing.
I mean, you're not an Arsenal fan, so you gotta let Mark.
He fits the bill. He fits the bill for an Arsenal transfer target.
In my opinion,
he's black
two options.
and he's French, like Thierry Henry.
He's black. But here's the thing.
But he's really lazy though. Like I said, he's a really lazy player.
Let me put it in perspective. That Giroud definitely works harder than Lacazette. I will say that.
Exactly.
Distance coverage, stuff like that. But in terms of the market, I think that Lacazette is probably the only other 9 out there that we can try and that we can take the chance on. Only because he fits the bill of in terms of his pace, his dynamic dribbling, and his finishing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mark, I got a question for you before you continue. See if you bring Lacazette in, for example, who is really not known to be the type of striker that would help out defensively. Do you think that would like just bring the team down a little bit? Especially in the EPL where a lot of mistake they can punish you.
Okay, here's my thing, man. You don't always need to defend with 10 men behind the ball, man. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. If you have the team, you're talking about maybe on the press, right? That's what you're saying. Yeah.
On the pressing, if you have to sit and defend.
Here's my question: like, does Olivier Giroud really help out defensively like that?
In terms of helping out defensively, and Giroud was really good with corners and stuff like that. He was able to come in and because of his presence and stuff. Even though that didn't make a difference, we still got killed on corners and set pieces. But Lacazette what he will do is help out defensively in the sense of the counterattacking. Arsenal is always been known as one of the best counterattacking football teams in England because we're able to pass and get out of the back. And with Giroud, it kills us a lot because of his lack of pace. With Welbeck, it kills us because yes, he has pace, but his touch isn't maybe up to standard of Arsenal standard. Okay. You know what I mean? With Lacazette, you kind of get the best of both worlds because not only is he pacey, he can play within our system very well because he's dynamic, he can dribble, he can play the 1-2, and he can finish. You know what I mean? So it kind of ticks off all the things we need. He may not have the height.
Basically, you're saying his offensive game will make up for it. It's kind of like Aubameyang. Yeah, it's like Aubameyang. Aubameyang's offensive game completely makes up for like his laziness.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, with that being said, outside of Lacazette, if we can't get a 9. I think he's the only other option. If we don't go that route, I think we stay with Sanchez, with the committee, with Sanchez, Giroud, and Welbeck, and then we end up going for a wide forward option.
Yeah, I think that'd be better.
Who in the market? Who in the market?
In the market, I think the market is good question. I think the market is a lot more I think the market is a lot more richer for wide forwards or wide options than it is for 9s because there's so many wide players out there that there's James like we just talked about. There's Mahrez. I know Douglas Costa might have just agreed to terms with Juventus. I think I heard about that. Juventus. But there's Douglas Costa. I mean, there's a lot of wide options out there that can give you 15,
Another
20
question
goals.
For you, Mark. 15, that's true. What about Morata? Since he seems to be the big striker on the market right now. Do you think? But Morata. Just saying for Arsenal, do you think it would fit in the system?
Here's the thing.
I would absolutely.
I personally don't know. Here's the reason why I say that. Because Morata's a type of striker that is
for somebody who watch him constantly.
Yeah, exactly. You would definitely
give you my opinion after you
I just want to do that before you do that, Jimmy, but go ahead.
I think
no, more to go for it. And then
when I first saw him, I think the common consensus around people that didn't watch Real Madrid as much, like me a couple years ago, I thought Hesse was like the better, younger option.
Yes, that is definitely true.
Until he went on that loan by, I don't know.
The injuries. When he was injured for 9 months, came back, he wasn't the same player anymore.
He went to Italy, though, and I started to see how he played in Italy and the way he was able to, his game, it looked like matured over there. You know what I mean? In a sense.
Yeah.
So, when he got back to Real Madrid, I think you really start to see the best of him, even for Spain, too. The reason why I don't think he'll be a great option for Arsenal is because it kind of is the same situation with the strikers we have now. He's better than all 3 of them outside of Sanchez. But I think the reason why it looks better is because he hasn't been on a side that needs the most out of what we need out of our strikers. In the sense of he plays on a side like Real Madrid. He played on a side like Juventus. He played on a Spanish side where They asked for him to do what is expected of him, and he surpassed all of that. You see what I'm saying? They asked for him to be a poacher. They asked for him to play off the ball, to play very good 1-2s. He's basically a very much matured, better version of Giroud, right? He can touch, he can create chances, he can score, he's a poacher. But Arsenal are going to ask more of him. Yeah, he can. He's
Morata,
pretty much a poacher.
Not really a poacher.
Yeah. But here's my thing. The player that I really kind of equate Morata to in terms of like size and just a little bit. You say Giroud. I've always thought like a more technical Diego Costa.
Yeah, that's a better example. I don't mean Giroud.
That is true. That is
I don't
true.
think he's definitely not as limited
like
as Giroud.
Morata.
I think in terms of his movement, though, his movement's very good.
He's very good.
I've seen him score his goals, and that's why I compare him to
even
Giroud.
His technicalities. Technicality is very good for a striker.
And his footballing IQ.
True story. When he was in the academy, Mourinho was still our coach, and Mourinho saw him play, and he told the coach at the time to move him to play on the wing. Because he saw potential,
Yeah,
correct.
So he can develop his touch, his vision, his IQ on the ball and dribbling ability. So
you can even see that in games. Because like, I've noticed whenever I seem to catch Spain and whenever I seem to catch Real Madrid on occasion, he tends to drift out wide. I think Benzema always drifts out wide. So I figure maybe that's the way you guys are trying to like play. But that's an illustration of technique to me when I see a striker do that. Because like you're never gonna see somebody like Olivier Giroud drift out wide because he just doesn't have the ball, the technique to like ball like that.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He doesn't have the technique, and that's the thing. I guess you could say, it's almost like I'm giving him a little bit too much credit, but it's almost like a poor man's Lewandowski in a sense too, in terms of his technical abilities there. Lewandowski's probably a little bit better of a dribbler in my opinion, but Morata.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
In the way that Bayern plays the way their tactical system set up, flourish something like that. The problem with Arsenal is Arsenal doesn't have the dynamic players around him that Juventus had, that Real Madrid have, that Spain have. So I think it would be difficult to ask of him what we're asking of him. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's why Mbappe. Yeah, that's why really in a perfect world, which goes into question number 4. If I had my dream transfer, I think Mbappe would be the perfect striker because he ticks off everything out of the checklist we need. We need the size. We need the speed, the pace, the dribbling ability, the eye for goal. That's the reason why we bid. That's why we put up a bid. Arsenal's never bid $100 million for anybody in their life, even though it's still underbid. Arsenal has never bid for somebody just to bid for somebody. You know what I mean? Because shows you that they feel this guy is going to be, running the world in terms of nines in the next 10 years. You know what I mean? So, will we get him? Probably not. But, the fact that we're trying is good enough for me. Now, going...
Okay, now can we move on to center backs?
Any last notes we can...
No. Yeah, we're just gonna move because like he hasn't talked about the other two positions, but very quickly, just go over center back.
The other two positions, center back. If I had a choice, Kostas Manolis, I think he's a very good center back out of England, pacey. There's rumblings about Smalling, which I'm kind of hot and cold about.
Hopefully, you won't get another stone.
To be honest with you, I think I'm hot and cold on Chris Smalling. If the price is right, honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with him and Rob Holding duking it out for the last.
What about his injury? You don't think about his injury list and all that?
But, I mean, like I said, him at his best, I think would work out at Arsenal. I think he's not. Only issue is he's not a great ball playing center back.
How old is he?
What is it, like? I don't know. I'm lying because if I said he's young.
Mark, honestly, man, I would have thought you said a right back because it looks like, what is it, Hector? There's been rumors that he's going to go to
but
Barcelona.
We're also he's not.
Gabriel, Gabriel is not really.
Remember,
Gabriel is not really shunned at that position, and then on top of that,
Hector signed a 6-year contract.
On top of that,
I don't think.
Okay, on top of that doesn't mean that doesn't.
It doesn't mean anything.
That really doesn't.
But it also means
the funny thing is though,
we can say.
But I also just wanted to finish. On top of that, you guys signed Said. What's his name? Kolazniak. Blah blah. Yeah. Anyway, I think your backline could look good even if you don't.
Remember,
really
we're also going into I think we're going to go into the season with the 3-4-3 formation that we've been playing. So I think if we stay with that.
But then what about Gabriel playing there with Rob Holding? Gabriel off the bench, Rob Holding starting with Mustafi on the right.
I don't think Gabriel's good enough. I honestly don't think he shows
not even as a backup.
But I would rather have Rob Holding as the backup maybe Gabriel to be the reserve player, because remember Chambers is coming back. He's probably gonna go on loan again soon as well. Yeah. We have a lot of, and remember Murdersackle has his last year here too as well. So remember, we have a lot of center backs. So if we were to buy one, I would say Gabriel would probably be the first one leaving. You know what I mean? Because Murdersackle is gonna be phasing into maybe going into coaching. Remember, he's a captain. So so I think Chambers goes back on loan. Gabriel leaves if that happens. But quickly to touch on that. So I would say a center back, maybe, Manolas would be our first pick. If Smalling was available for $12 million, for a very cheap price, I would probably go with Smalling just to have an extra center back. And then once Murdersackle phases out, maybe him and Rob Holden get some competition. And then lastly, like I said, a midfielder, we don't really have to touch on that. I would think that'd be the last position. With Wilshere coming back and potentially Kazora's out again for another 6 months, so who fucking knows?
Yeah, so those things. Santi was a big miss. Now the thing is, I've noticed like over the past couple of years, Wenger has kind of shifted because the number one player you guys have never replaced. You can say Thierry Henry, but Patrick Vieira.
Of course.
Okay.
It's harder to replace
Patrick had
Patrick
technique,
Vieira than it is to replace center forward.
That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. Patrick had technique, but he had power. Now the thing is, and also leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership. Yes. Leadership is something that you cannot develop in terms of like
leadership's been
in
a big
team.
problem in Arsenal. I mean, if you look at the last 10 years,
it has.
Look at all of our captains. They've all left. Have you sold them all?
Fabregas was honestly the best one I can remember.
Not even Van Persie, we sold Colo. We sold Colo to City to end his career there. Go play with his brother. We sold Vermaelen, another captain. We sold Fabregas, another captain. We sold Van Persie, another captain. I mean, Mikel Arteta left and went to City to go be an understudy to Pep, another captain.
But okay,
we've sold.
Yeah,
but
I don't. Mark, like let me just go to Mark again. I don't mean necessarily just like somebody wearing an armband. Because you think about somebody from the center midfield. That's what I'm talking about in terms of leadership. Modric has a certain leadership, but because he leads by example. Toni Kroos leads by example.
And Arteta was that guy.
Arteta
was that guy until he got old. Remember when Arteta first got there from Everton? He got the armband, I think, the year after that, and he was a very big part of that. And
that's why I was saying like Wenger's kind of shifted.
It's weird.
Wenger's kind of shifted,
and now
because Wenger, in terms of center midfielders, he's gone for a lot more technique rather than
with Xhaka
balance.
Exactly, I was gonna hit it. I was gonna hit a point on that. That was exactly what I was gonna ask you, Mark. In comparison to like your old glory days, pre 2004, and to now. Can you differentiate the players you guys got now and the players you guys have in those times when you were winning? Can you tell what the difference is between those players that you're getting now and the players that you used to get?
Yeah.
And what made Wenger change in that way to get all these new players?
That's a very good
question.
Those. And I think back then, we had physically demanding players, like physically imposing players, but they were also so technically sound. Like Vieira was technically amazing, and he was a big player, right? Lauren as a right back, big, tall right back, but he was also very
Thierry Henry was technical,
really tall,
physical.
Dennis Bergkamp. Robert Perez. We had so many physically imposed. Teams feared us because we were big and we could play and we can play. And now, and I think it's not just him. If you look at Spain in 2010, look at their average height. Iniesta, Xavi are small guys too. So I think the world went to more smaller.
Okay. See, that's where this is where the difference come into play. They can play tiki taka with a very, very high footballing IQ.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Pretty much all of them play tiki taka with a very high IQ, and they actually do mix the team. If you think about it, like Torres is the type of striker that can run beyond the line, drive deep, like the technicality of, and then you got the likes of Pedro that can run all day, and then you got Vida, like the technicality is there, but they also got grit and IQ, and I don't see that in the new Arsenal team.
I will say this.
They got the technique, but the IQ is not at the same level.
That's a very good point, and I think the reason why you're not seeing that is because if you look at the last 5, you don't have to say 10 years. You just look at the last 5 years. We'll say 5 to 10 years. Our most technical players have either left or they've been injured, right? If you look at Fabregas, was probably one of our most technical players, left. Nasri, very technical player, could play the tiki-taka, left. Santi's been injured like crazy. Diaby was the closest thing we had to,
Diaby. The closest thing to Vieri. I was getting ready to talk about Abu Diaby.
Jack Wilshere.
God, man,
Jack
when he
Wilshere
played against Liverpool,
at his best. Iniesta was saying he was the best player on the field.
Abu Dhabi at Anfield was definitely one of my favorite performances.
Yes, that's my point. But you have all these
too,
highly technical players.
Same thing. Well, Arshavin. Same.
Exactly. You have all these technical players, but you don't have the grit, the power. Correct. Like the sense of unity when it comes to defending. That's not. But that's the thing. They used to have that. The fear factor. They used to have that. But nowadays, when team play against you, I feel like it's kind of easy to just.
It's true, and that's
somehow like you got the likes of Ozil, for example, who usually doesn't.
Right. We Alex Ferguson said in his book, this is how you gave the formula of how to beat Arsenal. Let them play up to a certain point, then press them, they lose it. Things like that. Arsenal's had that reputation. You know what I mean? To where we don't have any backbone, we don't have any grit, and I think that has a lot to do with, like I said, having the players leave, having the players that we had that had that quality just be injured. So it's tough.
Oddly enough, all the players that you said that position that you wanted to fill, pretty much just spine of the team. So I think you agree with that statement.
Now that Santi's injured, Jack's maybe come back, and Jack might be gone. He might go to Bournemouth on an actual transfer. Who knows? Ramsey he's not quite playing in the position that he's best at. So he should be playing.
Because it's funny because I feel like what impedes Ramsey as well is Ozil, honestly.
He's a 10.
Because for Wales, Ramsey as a 10 is pretty. That's the best position.
Of course. There's no way.
But Ozil is a better 10.
That's what I'm saying. It impedes him. You have to go with Ozil 10 out of 10 times. But good.
If we're gonna play the 3-4-3, if we're gonna go forward with the 3 in the back, I don't think there's a spot for Ramsey. I think Ramsey next to Xhaka doesn't really work over a season. Because none of them.
No, because Wales did play with a variation of that. They played with 3 in the back, they played with 4 in the midfield, and they played with Bale and Ramsey behind the 2. No. They played Bale and Ramsey behind the striker, Robson Kanu. And Ramsey did run
but Bale was basically
the show there. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're better players. Arsenal have better players.
The second striker, and Ramsey was the 10. Ramsey was the one just pulling the strings. Ramsey's not going to be pulling the strings at Arsenal. You know why? Because of Ozil and because of Xhaka. Xhaka's going to be the majority, the one that makes 100-something passes a game. He's going to be the one with the ball at his feet. And Ramsey just defensively doesn't work.
Yeah.
I know, Mark, you're big on Ozil, but I feel like he's a really amazing player. But we talked about this before. Yeah. I feel like having him in a team,
he needs one more superstar.
Not just one more superstar.
But the thing is, he doesn't. You're right. I understand.
At the elite level. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the choice of
the line to win trophies.
No, because I disagree. Because you just have to look at Germany winning the World Cup. That's a great example. Look at what he did.
No. Okay, for example, with Real Madrid, we won 1 league, right? With him, we could have won more. As soon as we got rid of Ozil, we got rid of like the laziness, like not dropping back in midfield, trying to help out in defense. We started winning more trophies.
But your attack was fucking good. I'm sorry, but Ozil, Benzema,
our attack is good.
Yeah, Ronaldo. Come
on. Look at that time.
And I think he makes a good point. I mean, it's fair, I think the choice of words is with Ozil. I think the choice of words is he quietly does the things that a world class player does. He doesn't do it as loud as other players do. The problem with that is
he really does
is because of where.
But it's just that the great defensive ability to drop back and run. That's what I want to see. And you don't get that with him, and that really diminishes some of the attributes.
Okay, this is where guys, I think balance comes
what you said about Germany. He doesn't need to do that in Germany because he has 2 world-class center mids behind him that will do that work.
Yeah,
and he doesn't need to worry about goal scoring because of the fact that you have
the balance.
And that's the issue. That's why
you guys don't have that balance.
We need to get that.
You don't have that balance.
They need is
maybe a change of formation. Maybe a change of formation, perhaps. Something different. Maybe like a 4-4-1-1 with Sanchez up top and him beyond Sanchez.
In a 3-4-3 out of the last 8. No, but
you guys played terrible with that 3-4-3. I'm sorry.
I see a lot of holes
we just started
and gaps that
can be 3 months ago. You know what I mean? I think if you get a whole summer behind it, we won 9 out of 10. I think, or something like, or 8 out of 9 or something like that. with 3-4-3. You know what I mean? And I think because of the fact is,
but isn't that what Arsenal usually does at the end of the season? True. Usually, you guys are doing well, and then you hit and then you do terribly bad for like 3 or 4 months, and then at the end of the season you start winning again. Isn't that like the same repetitive?
I think you add a forward that's dynamic, or you add another wide player, one of the two, right? Once you do that, and you say, okay, Ozil, we've put you in a position now to where we've given you a striker or a goal scorer that's going to get on the end of your chances, so we don't have to lean on Ozil to score goals, so we don't have to lean so heavily on Sanchez to score goals, right? Now, what you can do now is do what you do best at an even higher level, right? Once that happens now, and we take some of the stress off of him, I think you'll see his form in Germany come back. You know what I mean? And I think the two things, I have seen
his form. I have seen the best of Ozil.
Arsenal, what you mean, right? Yeah. No, but I mean,
I have seen patches in Real Madrid. I even seen the best of Ozil.
Very seldom comes at Arsenal like it did in the World Cup or Real Madrid. Yeah, but I think patches you saw
his first season.
But my point is, if you put the personnel around him, like B2 is saying, if you get a center mid that can defensively retain the ball, find Ozil quickly, like Conte would have been I think that would probably be one of Wenger's biggest mistakes of his entire career, is not signing Conte last year. I think that would have been the biggest mistakes of his.
Yep.
Okay. Now here's my point. My point is with Ozil, it's the attack, because I think we talked about this. Arsenal. But let me just go ahead. Like Arsenal is just missing you kind of like Spurs. You're missing that one cog in your attack. And you could be a striker in your opinion, but what I'm saying is, if you guys play Sanchez and you play Ozil, and then you get James, it's a wrap.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't think so. I actually think you guys will be more vulnerable.
I agree with Jimmy.
You said what?
Okay, think about this. Sanchez is gonna, I'd rather have Sanchez on the wing. I always said that. He can drive, he can defend, he can go forward, he can create chances, he can cause havoc. Having Sanchez, Ozil, and James is not going to
everybody that wants the ball. Everybody that wants the ball.
In Ozil and James.
Wait, what do you mean? Like everybody wants the ball? That's a fair point.
Yeah, let me explain. Me personally, when I want to create like a midfield dynamic, I always told you that rock, a creative player, and an engine. You have a rock that can be solid. You have an engine that can go up and down, and you have a creative player. Players. You have James and Ozil, which are both these creative players. Correct, even though James can give you a little bit more goals, and then they're not really,
especially playing for that 3-4-3 formation.
James can defend. James can defend to the best of his ability, but not for a team like Arsenal.
And
for a team like Real Madrid, it works. But not for a team like Arsenal,
correct.
Where
I understand. And just to piggyback on that,
in the midfield,
we've had conversations about the James thing and the Mahrez thing, and not to say I don't. This is the reason why I'm going to use my words carefully. Why I favor Mahrez in this situation. The reason why I favor him is because yes, James is class. James is if you want to compare them like for like, James is a much more polished footballer, right? He does what he does at a higher level for the longer period of time because he played for Real Madrid. We can say he's a world class talent, right? The reason why I would say Mahrez works better for us is because in that wide option, you have a player that strictly does what we would ask him to do, which was mean get out wide, beat your man, either go straight to goal or put across it. That's all we need from him. James is more of a creative player where he will try to it's almost like him and Ozil would step over each other's feet in a sense because they both need the ball. You know what I mean? Whereas Mahrez,
that is true.
Correct. Mahrez needs the ball, but at the same time, Mahrez can work off of it, in my opinion. Because I think if you get him out wide, you say, okay, you are going to take that half of the field and you're going to work on the opposing team's left back and you're going to kill him. And you're gonna kill him, yeah. And
in that zone,
he makes his money. That's how he's made his as a professional in the last 3 years. What has he done at Leicester? He's made a name for himself in that corner of the field over there, where he's killed people. Now, of course, now he's played a bigger role, at Leicester nowadays. But I'm saying the year that they won the title, where he won PFA Player of the Year, his take on percentage and everything was just such at a high level that I think you put him on a team like Arsenal where it can work that way, yet he would know better than not to step over Ozil's feet. Whereas James, who's been the main guy at Colombia, at Real Madrid at certain points, where he needs to have the ball at his feet because he's such a creative player, it will cause conflict, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I think Mahrez works better for us in that wide situation because of that reason.
Okay. With that being said, I mean, I hate to compare you guys to Tottenham, but you just look at them. Okay, now Harry Kane, as in terms of a striker, does like the ball at his feet. Agreed?
I mean,
agreed.
Yeah. Dele Ali,
yes, he does.
Dele Ali as a midfielder likes the ball at his feet.
But Dele Ali.
That is true.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Christian Eriksen, as a creator, likes the ball at his feet. Agreed? What?
Christian Eriksen, what is Christian Eriksen best at doing?
Now pause. Yes.
Passing.
Yeah, he's doing playmaking. Now wait for that. Passing. Exactly, passing. Ozil, okay? Now then let's go to Dele Ali. Passing and goal scoring. I feel like James can take that role. Now let's go to Harry Kane. Goal scoring and creating. Sanchez could take that role. Do you not see where I'm coming from?
That's why you're not looking. You're looking. Okay, first of all, think about it. The coaching system is different. They have a different coaching system. They have a different pressing system.
Fair enough.
They have a different defensive system.
Fair enough.
They're a very complete different team from
correct.
Arsenal.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, fair enough.
Arsenal have a lot more problems than they do at the moment.
Fair enough. I mean, it's just not my.
Am I wrong there, Mark?
Yeah. It's not my team. It's not my team. I mean, he probably understands what Wenger would do more, but I mean, just for me looking at it, I feel like, man, James, geez. It's a wrap, but okay, but still, like before this whole topic, I mean, my point was just, I think Arsenal, if they had one more world class player, best out of Ozil would come out. You pick any world class player you want that you think would fit, Mark. That's the point I was trying to make.
I think Conte or Vidal coming to Arsenal last year, even with Giroud up top, I think we would have won the league, in my opinion. I think because the midfield would have been. I'm gonna give you a reason why. Because Conte especially, because if you look at last year with Leicester, what happened? Our midfield broke down with Cazorla, and we just couldn't fix it. And I think the issue with that is with Conte's, with Conte's ball retention and with what he does so great
Mark.
In terms of pressing and things like that, we would have been able to just suffocate teams. So I think we need a center mid like a Keita, like a Bakayoko, that's dynamic enough to do all things very well, and maybe Renato Sanchez. Who knows? Right now, I mean, it looks like Bayern just signed that French kid from Lyon too. I forgot his name, but it looks like he's about to sign him. So it doesn't really look like Renato Sanchez is going to get any game anytime soon. So I would say that would be a great signing for him, and Xhaka in the midfield would be amazing in my opinion. I think he's another player.
That would be amazing. You got the grit, you got the technicality.
Oh yeah, Renato Sanchez. That would be a good signing.
Last thing, yes.
I think Vidal would be such a great signing for us, man.
Okay.
I think he does everything. The reason why
I didn't say Modric or Kroos,
why I would say Modric,
like everyone would just
Xhaka would have to leave at that point, because I think between Modric and I think defensively, Modric and Kroos can cover more ground quicker than Xhaka can, right? But none of them are fives. They're not like exact. They're not anchors, and
they're not defensive midfielders.
Great anchoring midfielder either. You're kind of stuck. Vidal.
Why don't you get Nzonzi then? Huh? Nzonzi might be realistic. Nzonzi.
Realistically, I mean, unrealistically, Lewandowski, or Vidal would be.
You could have just said unrealistically, Jesus comes down and touches Santi Cazorla. That's all you could have said.
Gives him a new ankle, right? Realistically, my dream signing, my two dream signings. Realistically, I guess you can say Mbappe would be one of them, because we realistically put a bid in, even though we're probably not gonna get it.
Wait, is Mbappe unrealistic or realistic?
I say it's realistic. I mean, it's realistic enough for us to put a bid in, right?
Now with Real Madrid,
I know what you mean.
It's not realistic at all.
It's not likely. Sorry. I said what I'm saying.
That's true. There's always a chance. There's always a chance. No, you can never say no, because
the difference between
there's always a chance you might choose to go
with Champions League football to convince him.
No. Listen. It's realistic. It's unrealistic to say Lewandowski, right? Because we were never going to bid for him.
No, not Lewandowski. I'm talking about Mbappe.
No, I know. I'm comparing the two. It's unrealistic. We actually bid for him. Mbappe.
Yeah, you actually did bid for him.
Okay.
Mbappe.
You know what I'm saying? We're never going to bid for Lewandowski because we know he's not going to come. The fact that we actually tried to bid him, and Wenger last year was this close to signing him. They actually, Monaco actually kept him to stay. This is last year when he wasn't a nobody, though. Obviously, we tried to sign him last year. No, this is true. No,
this is my thing with Arsenal. You guys are fucking hilarious because why would you bid 100 and something million is when you could just take half of that and just buy Lacazette right out?
Because Wenger strongly feels this kid's gonna be a superstar. Okay, so over and under, I would say in a realistic aspect, bottom line, 50 million on Lacazette, 35 million on Mahrez, and the free transfer. That's 85 million, right? 35 million. Yeah, the 85 million spent, 40 million going the other way, 45 million Met spent, in my opinion.
Okay, I got you.
So,
all right,
we'll see, man. We'll check back with I guess at the end of the year. We'll take a look at that, see exactly what goes on. I think I'm already ahead of V2 because V2 looks like he's already lost with Virgil van Dijk not coming to Liverpool and Salah not looking good for Liverpool either. So
that's fine. I mean, the less money we spend, that's better. So you'll come back hard in January.
Less money you spend, less chances you'll be in Champions League after next year. So we'll see. Anyways,
that is true. Maybe you guys are gonna be out of the
Good
group
luck
stage.
with that. Good luck with that.
I believe they're gonna be in the group. They're gonna be out of the group stage.
They're probably gonna play
Europa.
I guarantee you they get Real Madrid group stage like they did 2 years ago.
I'm hoping.
That's no problem.
I would like
that's
to.
No
we're
problem.
gonna watch the game together.
No problem.
We're gonna watch the game together.
We can watch it together because I feel like Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool won big games. You should know this, Mark, because we smacked you. It doesn't matter. Top six.
Seriously, you think you're gonna smack Real Madrid if we play you guys?
I'm just saying. We'll give you guys a good game if we don't have any injuries. There you go.
Well,
it doesn't matter. We'll bring your 18.
And if we sign the players we want. If we sign the players we want.
That doesn't look real likely to happen. So next week on Banter Football 30 podcast, we're going to go with the Special Ones team, Manchester United. We're going to be speaking about who their potential signings are. Ahmed's the in-house Manchester United Red Devil fan. We're going to go with him and get his opinion on who he thinks they're going to sign, his potential unrealistic or realistic signing, and their over and under. So tune in next week.
Yep. We'll call that episode Views from the Six.
So Views from the Six will be with the Six God himself, Ahmed, and he will go ahead and give us his opinion on that. So tune in next week, guys. Hey, if you guys have any ideas on any upcoming shows or you want your favorite team spoken about on the next podcast, please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to Banter Football 30 podcast. Thanks. Have a good one.